Welcome back, fam. It is Sunday, November 9th. And here we are on the Diginachi sequence. Got two of my favorite people, Duran Crypto Heavy and Phil Spinuzza, aka MC Phil.
What's up, everyone?
How's it going, guys?
Going good, man.
Going well.
You guys been having a good week?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. It's getting into that time of the year, man. So Halloween over, we getting into holiday season.
There we
There
have
you
it.
go. You got to start working on that Christmas list.
Look,
Oh,
man.
man, don't even. Christmas music's about to be playing soon.
I'm going to have Mariah Carey stuck in my head for the next 8 weeks.
Literally, every
no.
store you walk into, man.
Man, I'm gonna be busting out Christmas music in my truck driving around. It's the only thing I'll be listening to.
Love that. That's awesome. Wait, what type of Christmas music?
Man, just the classics. Honestly, one of my favorite people to listen to around Christmas time is Mannheim Steamroller. You guys heard of them?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I will just say this: someone that my dad put me on is definitely like an old person. But if EDM were Christmas music, that's what Mannheim Steamroller would be.
Got you.
So y'all got to check it out. It's just all instrumental, no words, and it's great. I love it. Like I'll listen to it the whole month of December. That'll be the only thing I'm listening to. But they
That's
play all the
awesome.
classics. They play
Yeah.
all the classics just
I
in
like the
their own.
classics. I like the classics.
Yeah, just in their own
Same.
vibe and their own feel. But yeah, guys, let's get into it. Obviously, it's Sunday night. Just on our Twitter feed, we saw that apparently the Senate has come to an agreement to reopen the government tomorrow morning. And this can be extremely exciting for a few different reasons. I mean, we've got the ETFs lined up, set to go live. We've got the government coming back in. I mean, the Clarity Act is set to possibly be passed. What are your guys' thoughts?
Yeah, man.
They should have reopened a long time ago. I think this government shutdown thing is a total clown show farce. It's ridiculous, in my opinion, that this even occurs. You know, some of these agencies should be paid no matter what. They should be totally excluded from any concept of a government shutdown, like TSA, for instance. My poor aunt just got back into Florida off a cruise. Miami airport was supposed to fly back to Baltimore yesterday. Flight got canceled because of the lack of staff in the airports. Then it got rebooked. Then that got canceled. So she just had to rent a car and drive all the way from Florida to Baltimore because of it. So unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree. I think the theater that they did for the government shutdown was outrageous. You know, regardless of what side you're on, like it's like the American people was hostage for some kind of like just like you said, like a shit show. So
Yeah.
I'm just happy that it's back up and we can kind of get back rolling. I mean, obviously us, we native to crypto, so obviously we watch it for a different reason than other people as actual people getting impacted money wise. And so my hat goes off to anybody who like was affected and like really lost, didn't get paid and stuff like that for the government because they absolutely should have got paid. There's no reason that we put our safety at risk with TSA and air traffic controllers not getting paid, military not getting paid. It just no, it's like real regular people, man, and like they made it a show for no reason. It's like reality TV, just so you can point the finger at somebody, which is ridiculous. So, I'm happy that it's up, but from the crypto side of it, I think that the ETFs were like kind of like dangled last week with the Swell event, and now with the government shutdown potentially opening, I 100% believe that they'll start rolling them in next week for XRP.
Yeah, they should be opening it up soon for sure. Obviously, my condolences to the people that have been having to work and not get paid. But I'm low key an anarchist, so I was cool with the government being shut down. Let it stay shut down in perpetuity.
Well, they all get paid their back pay, so it's not like they missed out on anything. They get all that back.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
for sure.
that's
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just like you trying to pay your bills and you like, no check today, but I got to go to work. That's crazy.
Yeah, that's a
You know what I mean? Like, it's a different kind of feeling.
yeah.
But no, I think that you wanted that for a different reason, just off the strip, because for sure, like it's like it'll just solidified this is all a show.
Yeah.
The theater is real, and and I think it still is.
Well,
It's
I think
it's
maybe
been-
this solidifies even deeper that it's all a show because they've got to get the government back open so they can pay themselves, pay everybody, and keep the show that is government in general going. I think we would all be better off if we could just self-govern, which ironically is an interesting thing that decentralized blockchains can lead to in the future. Is if we could all truly self-govern, we wouldn't have to have elected officials when we can have decentralized voting on numerous amounts of topics for anybody that wants to participate. I think there would be a way to have government run where if people just now, like when we have presidential elections per se, there was half the country voted. So if all types of measures could be introduced in a decentralized fashion, and whoever wants to vote, say there's a 30-day window on anything, there'd be some way of having it set where people would have enough time to read up on it, to understand. But everybody that wanted to participate in the government could vote. And we honestly could completely self-govern in that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on that, Phil?
Yeah, well, they can just make a post on X, put a poll on X. I'm pretty sure those voting polls are more secure than our national voting centers are.
Well, they're definitely more secure than our elections in the beautiful
Yeah.
state of Colorado.
Look how accurate Polymarket is. Like, it's outrageous how accurate it is. And like they literally starting to put it on like CNBC and
Yeah.
different news channels because it's so accurate that they like, well, this already kind of predicted that this was gonna happen. So and that's running on blockchain. So like you said, like decentralized blockchain and people being able to like self-govern is the future. It really
Beautiful
is.
idea.
Secretary of State in Colorado leaked the passcodes for the voting machines before the last election.
Yeah, of
So,
course.
yeah, I'm sure Colorado elections are super secure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like that. Yeah, yeah. Wink, wink.
Yeah. All right, guys, we're getting off track here, man. Main thing, and hey, that's a theme for me. I get it. It's my fault. I take all the responsibility on my shoulders. All right, let's get into Ripple Swell and talk about some of the exciting things that happened at Ripple Swell this week. Because obviously we had the annual Ripple Swell conference. Brad Garlinghouse got up and spoke. He had a lot of amazing things to say, but they had a lot of great people from the financial world, from everything from the CEO of the Nasdaq to the person responsible for digital assets at the White House. Phil, you said you actually live streamed Ripple Swell, which I think is cool. Duran and I were more on X getting the cliff notes
Absolutely.
from the posts on X. But Phil, since you actually watched it, give us a highlight of maybe your favorite thing that you saw at Ripple Swell. Who did you enjoy listening to? What was something that was said to you that really stuck out?
Yeah, absolutely. First off, I thought it was so cool that they live streamed Ripple. They live streamed it on X. That was awesome. Fortunately, I was off on Tuesday and Wednesday. So literally I just had it playing as I went about my day, doing all my chores and whatnot. But it was great. Brad Garlinghouse stole the show on multiple occasions, but a couple major themes. Regulatory clarity was a big, big theme throughout Ripple Swell from all of the speakers. Tokenization was another gigantic theme throughout the entire 2-day conference. And then from Ripple's point of view and Brad Garlinghouse, emphasizing the focus of driving liquidity, utility, and value on the XRP ledger, and emphasizing how XRP is at the backbone and it's the heart of Ripple and everything they do. That was awesome to hear. I feel like we've been through a lot over the years. So for them to come out and just be so firm with those statements regarding XRP and just reminding us how focused they are to drive utility, to drive liquidity on the XRP ledger, that made me feel really good. Hopefully everyone else felt great about that. But a couple other highlights I got super excited about. Steve McClurg from Canary Capital let it leak that he expects ETFs to go live this upcoming week, as in tomorrow, possible tomorrow through Friday.
Almost like he knew that the government was going to open.
Yeah, well, if anyone would know, it would be Mr. McClurg. I mean, he's super dialed in. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Las Vegas for XRP Las Vegas, and what a great guy. But he is super dialed in. If anyone would know, it would be him. So let's see how that plays out. That was super cool. Patrick DeWitt being there, just him being
Yeah,
there alone was unbelievable. He made a statement how he predicts tens of trillions of dollars of liquidity flowing into digital assets in the extremely near future. That
by
was
the end of
super
the year,
exciting to hear from the White House. I mean, come on, are you kidding me?
less
That's
than 60
huge.
days is basically what he's saying. Tens of trillions flow in less than 60 days.
Yeah, that's insane. If that happens in less than 60 days, holy moly, my God. But I do think that will happen in time.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, if it happens in 60 days, we having a whole different conversation in 60 days. Our podcast will be
The
on
Sunday podcast,
we'll
man.
be the new news.
Playboy lit.
Yeah,
We're gonna be doing from the penthouse in Dale.
that's right.
Bill and I are gonna be skiing.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be sitting in the hot tub,
Yeah,
you
literally.
know, drinking smoothies.
I'll have somebody recording me as I do the podcast. No, man, yeah, that'd be super exciting, man. Like I think that, like you said, Brad did a lot of like talking, like, and I don't feel like he was talking his book either. I think he was just being honest. He was very candid about a lot of stuff he said. It was like he was very comfortable, and we see him. He always really cool, but like he just felt comfortable. It's like this is our show. We running it, and he just was like very comfortable, like talking to people, and the information he was given was very like, yes, we know XRP. It's almost like he was talking to all the haters that he see on X, and he don't speak to them directly, but he was giving them like a broad statement. Just so you know, like XRP is at the center of everything that we're doing. So calm down. And it was almost like keeping XRP army like,
Yeah.
relax, guys. Don't
It's our
Yeah.
worry.
North.
We
It's our
got
North.
you. Yeah. I honestly think that they appreciate what we bring, like just the passion behind it, because there's so many smart people in the XRP community, and like so many devs to social media people to like just everyday guys, and like everybody is dialed into XRP and like really do they research on it. So it's like you don't really get a lot of, it's maxi talk, but it's not really maxi talk. It's like we just so definitive in what we research that we like believe it, and we know it to be true because the documents say it. So it's not like we're not even speculating no more. The documents are literally telling us. And if you just can't read the documents, then I feel like you just doing this just to get a rise out of me, because you're not really looking at the documents and what they're saying.
They're just
So
ignoring them.
yeah,
It's just
I
people
ignore
want
it
to
every
ignore it.
time.
They want to say it's not true. They want to say, oh, well, that's made up. And I think that partially comes from there have been several things that have circulated on places like X that have been fake documents or things that haven't been true. Yes, that has happened from time to time when people have made fake news. Yeah, people make fake news, but that doesn't mean that the stuff that is real is not real. The stuff that is real is real.
But it's crazy because every blockchain also has those articles and fake news.
What a profound statement I just made.
Yeah.
Time out, guys.
Easy Confucius.
Wow. Yeah. This isn't my brick. This is my normal brick wall, guys. I'm gonna hurt my head.
Yeah, but
We're
Man,
making these profound statements, you
Yeah.
know.
but
And
it's so
then
true. It's so true. And we've seen so many of these real documents, and we've seen so many of these real connections and these dots connected and these partnerships exposed. And the writing's on the wall. And we've been seeing the writing continue to be written on the wall for the last however many years. It's been so long that it's almost irrefutable at this point. And no other digital asset can boast that or claim that. No one else has that. If you follow Chad Steinbrenner on X, like, my God, like, look at all the stuff he posts out there. It's
wow,
unbelievable.
I love his stuff. He
Yeah,
drops
it's
so many
incredible.
gems.
He
he does
finds
a
everything.
great job at making sure that everything he posts has been vetted and is real. Like
Oh,
when I've seen some fake stuff, it's never from him. He
never
knows.
from him.
No, no, he does a
No.
really good job.
And that's why we're so passionate, and that's why we're so bought in. In other communities, they don't have that.
Correct.
And we're also not bots like you find in a lot of other communities. We're real people.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think they get more irritated because it's not just like one person. A lot of other communities have like one person that they kind of like does all the talking for everybody, and we got so many people all the way down from a new person to like the OGs like DAI and Digital Perspective, like, like Kimes and all them, like they've been around for so long, so we do look to them. But like, it's so many influence, like Mickle and Zach Rector and Coach JV. It's like so many different
Yeah.
spectrums of it. And then you got the dev guys, like it's a ton of dev guys that I follow, and then there's chart guys that I follow. Like, so it's
Yeah.
so many different spectrums of like the XRP community that you can lean on. And it's fun because like you get in information and you get in like the facts, and then it makes it easy for people like me. I work all the time, so like I don't get a chance to like go deep dive like that. So deep dive is like an article that they post, and then I go research that. But they already found it. Like they already
Yeah.
got the video clip. They already got the article. You just got to go read it. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
makes
Well,
it a
it's
lot
like,
easier.
yeah, it's awesome that we have these influencers that keep us up to date with all the things that are going on. But it's what's even more awesome is that we have something like, and these happen all the time, but just at Ripple Swell, we were just talking about Patrick Witt, and the things that he was saying. But when you have someone who is the head of the White House's Council of Advisors on digital assets saying people, investors, institutions are going to have a choice. And this is a quote. I might have it a little bit off, but it is almost verbatim. He says they are going to have a choice. You can either invest in the blockchains and the companies that are building the new financial infrastructure, or you can invest in the Bitcoins and Ethereums that are not. So you have the head of the White House's Council of Advisors on Digital Assets saying a statement like that while he's saying that tens of trillions of dollars are coming on chain by the end of the year, which is less than 60 days. And I think that's why we have such a community of people where, yeah, we're not XRP maxis, even though that's probably all of our biggest bag,
Right.
but we're utility maxis. There's
Yeah.
so many projects out there that these tens of trillions. He didn't say a 10 trillion. He said
Tens of
tens,
trillions.
tens with an S. That means tens in a plural sense. That could mean 20, 30, 40, 50, however many tens of trillions are coming into this space
Short term. That
for
was
the end of the. Yeah, and that's a good point, Duran, because that is short term. We're not talking about how many hundreds of trillions, if not quadrillions, by 2030. We're
exactly.
talking about tens of trillions by the end of this year. And that is flowing into utility. That is flowing into actual tokenization of assets. You have the NASDAQ on the Ripple Swell panels. The CEO of NASDAQ, I can't think of her name, but her talking about how by summer of 2026, the entire NASDAQ will be tokenized.
Yeah.
So if the entire stock market, and we're talking over $100 trillion, just
Right.
the stock market is tokenized by next summer. That's the only way they can do 24/7 trading of the stock market. We're not going to have this 9 to 4 Monday through Friday, excluding holidays, trading anymore. The stock market's going to trade 24/7, 365, just like the crypto market does. And that's just one stock exchange. If that's happening, all the other stock exchanges are going to have to do it too. And so that's coming because it's already started. Ondo Finance, another great project with utility that we're all familiar with, has already tokenized 100 or so stocks. They already have 100 or so stocks tokenized on chain. Now, they don't have huge trading volume on there yet, but the fact is that Ondo has tokenized a segment of stocks on the blockchain. And so once the cat's out of the bag, which it is, that's only going to continue to get more and more.
And you got to think they one of the first companies to start doing it. You don't think that these other bigger companies are looking at this and seeing how the process work? It just take one for the process to start, and then they take that process and they make that process better. So Ondo may start it, and it may be another company that comes up and makes that better, and then another company makes it better, and the innovation to keep going. But like the fact that it's starting is what we want to see because we've been in speculation for so long that it's like now it's not speculation. They are going to tokenize the stocks. The NASDAQ chief, he said it. Like, so we know the direction and we just, again, we can't pinpoint the time, but we see that it's moving and it's moving faster than I even expected, to be honest with you. Like, I didn't think it was going to move this fast. So I thought more like from what everybody say, like 2030 is like where you'll see the most. And that's probably, it may be so, but like 2025 going into 2026 is moving really damn fast right now. And what they doing and companies that's really coming on board, it's fast, man. Like they moving fast. MasterCard with Ripple, like that's major news. Like, you know what I mean? Like that's fast. That's
Yeah.
really fast. We
Well,
going from
that brings
getting
us into our next topic of conversation because I was wanting to talk about MasterCard working with Ripple and settling everything on XRP with RLUSD. Let's talk about that. Obviously this is huge. Last week we were on here, we were talking, we were kind of making fun of the Solana bros
yeah.
with their Western Union partnership. And then we get this massive MasterCard partnerships. Yeah, I mean, you were just talking on it, Duran. Phil, kind of what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah, that's before the show, I told you about the deep dive I went on, and that's what really spurned it. So, great announcement, awesome announcement. I think I'll be a little bit of a wet blanket to a small degree. I think it's a really great announcement for Ripple. I'm not sure how massive of an announcement it is for XRP itself,
Mhm.
but when RLUSD is used on the XRP ledger, every time it's used, a small amount of XRP is burnt. And that is extremely important and valuable to the ecosystem. So don't ever lose focus on that, anyone out there listening to this. But regardless, that's a great announcement and super positive news. I do just want to backtrack real quick about tokenization. If people think the president of NASDAQ was sitting at Ripple Swell going on and on about tokenization and doesn't have inside knowledge about how those assets are going to be tokenized. Hint, hint, guess what? Ripple will be a
Yeah.
part of that process.
Yep.
You're out of your mind. Also, one thing that got leaked in regards to tokenization that a lot of people missed, Glenn Templeton confirmed that they will be working with Ripple for tokenization through their Benji program. And Benji is also tied in with BlackRock's build program for tokenization. And Ando's roped in on that. So I actually think a ton of tokenization is coming to the XRP ledger in the very, very near future. And that is crazy.
I think for a lot of the bigger investors, that's the end game for them. Tokenization is what they plan. Like BlackRock and all of those guys, tokenization is what they want. They want to
Larry
token.
Fink goes on about it all the time.
Yeah, that's all Larry Fink talk about. Like he talk about
Mhm.
tokenization all the time. Every interview he talk about tokenization. I think he passed the blockchain pass, all the other nonsense. He just like, yo, we gonna tokenize everything because he knows that that's the easiest way for him to control the most
Yep.
amount of money, the
Yes, it
most
does,
amount of
because tokenization will allow 24/7, 7 days a week, 24/7 trading. And that means a lot more trading fees. That means so much more money
yes.
for those companies. It's unbelievable. They want that more than we do. Yeah.
That's I think that, and we again we're gonna get to take advantage of it and become wealthy off of it or whatever you want to call it because they want it so bad that we just going on for the ride because when I can honestly say when I first started tokenization was not why I invested in XRP or
Yeah,
in
same.
any of the other assets, you know what I mean, like that was
Mhm,
something that we kind of talked into like from the news
mhm.
and connecting the dots, but like now that I see where it's going and how important it is for the new financial system, I'm very eager to see how that looks because I'm like that's where the money is going to be at. Like that's the trillions of dollars that we talk about running on all of these different blockchains. So
Yeah.
like the faster that happens, the faster we can retire.
Yeah. For sure, man. Phil, you look like you got something you want to say.
I just wanted to add, because I briefly touched on stable coins and, something we spoke about earlier. I think everyone's going to want their own stable coin and they're going to want to control their own stable coin. But everyone needs to remember for those stable coins to interact with each other, there will have to be a bridge. There has to be a bridge. And the most logical, best suited bridge is XRP, in my humble opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. And with those stable coins, I mean that ties directly into the tokenization of everything because a stable
Mhm.
coin is just a tokenized dollar. That's all it is. Or a tokenized won, or a tokenized yen, or a tokenized pound.
Yeah.
That's all a stable coin is. It is a tokenized version of some fiat currency. And for it to operate in conjunction with tokenized assets such as stocks or real estate or your car or anything with a title, any type of collectible, any type of life insurance policy, all of that has to be bridged together by some.
Yes. Thank you. It does. Yep.
Yeah. It's not just one stable coin to another stable coin that needs to be bridged. And that's the point that I was trying to make it to add on to what you were saying there, Phil, because it's bigger than just bridging the stable coins. It is
Yeah.
bridging everything. The stable
Everything.
coins are just one thing that needs to be bridged to all these things of value. And I think, and that's what makes the stable coins legitimate. Otherwise, it's just trading fiat. Otherwise, it's no different than the FX market.
Yeah.
This is about bridging everything of value in one place. And there's a reason all these people are at Ripple Swell.
Yeah. I honestly think the government, they literally, I think just like Larry Fink is tokenization, the government is more stable coins because they want to keep the dollar dominance like across the world. So like they super eager to see these stablecoin companies, these US stablecoin companies facilitate this stablecoin dollar across everywhere because all the places where you can't get the dollars, now you can digitally. That's what they want. And that's the battle. Like the battle that Trump talking about with China is the yuan versus the dollar digital, like the stable coins. Who can get the most of that market share with their stable coins being used for everything that they want to have of value? Every, like you said, every house payment, every car payment, every time you go get your birth certificate, like whatever it is, they want to be able to have their stable coin be the one that you use to keep the dollar dominant. So the government is really pushing stable coins, just like they're pushing tokenization. But either way, it's a win for us because it's running on a blockchain and there's more use case, is more adoption. So that's what we want to see.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, the last thing I want to mention here, guys, before we wrap up from Ripple Swell was the huge announcement that Ripple was receiving a $500 million investment at a 40 billion valuation from several heavy hitting strategic investment firms such as Fortress, Citadel Services, Pantera Capital, Galaxy Digital, Brevin Howard, and I think there was one more like Marshall. And this has become somewhat controversial, which has been an interesting thing to read on X this week. How people are comparing Ripple's valuation of $40 billion with a $500 million investment. I think we saw people that basically saying this means that their XRP is worth nothing because they have so many hundreds of billions of dollars worth of XRP in escrow. But to me, not to jump the gun, and I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts. But to me, what that means to a large degree is Ripple doesn't actually own any of the XRP in escrow. If they did, of course they would be valued at a higher than a $40 billion valuation. So obviously something doesn't make sense. We've seen Ripple make these multi-billion dollar acquisitions of Rail, Hidden Road, G Treasury, Medico, to name a few of them. And those were obviously huge. So now the company of Ripple is valued at $40 billion. I think that in itself should be super bullish. But I find it interesting that people are conflating this idea that, well, because Ripple has so much XRP in escrow, that, well, obviously they're valuing the XRP to huge discount or they're valuing it at zero and they're acting like this is a bad thing. When in my mind, it really just shows that
They don't
none of
have
that XRP belongs to Ripple.
no, it belongs to all them NDAs that we talk about all the time. It belongs to them NDAs. And that's
Yeah.
to me was more bullish because I think, yeah, I watched some of the stuff on X and it was like, oh, they giving discounts on XRP, blah, blah, blah to these big companies and you can just resell it and dump. And I'm like, well, they never did that. That's one of the reasons why Ripple controlled the escrow so that stuff like that doesn't happen. They literally do that on purpose. And I think the transparency of Ripple is another reason why like they get so much backlash because people know everything about it, but they don't do enough research about it. They just look at surface level things and then they just spew out the surface level things instead of doing a little bit more research because they don't really care. They just want to FUD XRP and say anything negative they can to make it look bad. So now they're trying to separate XRP with Ripple. It's like, well, Ripple looks great, but XRP is this. And it's like, it's it don't make sense for them to abandon the whole point of Ripple buying XRP. Like the whole purpose of them getting XRP and using the technology was to be able to use it in their business model. So to like go away from it now doesn't make any sense at all to me. And
Yeah.
anybody who thinks that this business, this billion-dollar company will go away from what made the company, like that makes zero sense. Like they've been building up on Ripple or XRP the whole time, and they building out their business like the model that they started with. They said they want to put a dent in the universe for a reason. Like it wasn't because of one simple thing. They had multiple things that they wanted to do. I think Brad even said something like they wanted to do an exchange or whatever, and he was like they had to like pull back because they didn't want to do an exchange. They wanted to kind of stay in the same place where they were at. They didn't want to go too far out. And it's like that
Yeah.
tells you that they had a plan the whole time and they just stuck to the plan. Like, and everybody ain't gonna see that. So it's fine. But it's the FUD is crazy right now. It's wild.
I
Yeah.
think I'm
Couple great things.
reading Phil's mind here. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, because Duran made it quite a few great points, and to just bounce off of those. So first off, a lot of those claims made on X were baseless. Those individuals making those claims had no facts to back up their statements. Number one. Number two, it is my understanding that the escrow is not included on Ripple's balance sheets at when they're valued at $40 billion. That excludes the escrow, because if you look up the definition of escrow, you'll understand, oh, wait a minute, they don't actually own this stuff. And I think I really believe in the pre-allocation theory as well. So I think probably the majority of that escrow is already spoken for. And then, yeah, Duran, you mentioned Ripple not wanting to become an exchange. And it was so cool that that got brought up, because the interviewer who was talking to Brad Kimes about that brought up his peanut butter manifesto. And that's all about how businesses get spread too thin and then they kind of lose focus of who they are. So I thought it was super cool that
Me too.
the classic peanut butter manifesto was brought back into the picture and applied to Ripple. And it was just awesome. Ripple Swell was fantastic. And I'm super excited that it's going to be open to the public next year.
Yes.
Really? I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
that
We
was
get to
Yeah.
go?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can
we
go
do.
next year.
Yeah, we do. And I'm going. I'm telling you guys
I'm
right
definitely
now, I
going.
will be
Yeah.
there 1,000,000%.
I will be
Yeah,
there.
we're there.
Yeah.
We're
Send
there.
me up again too. So like I will be
Go
there.
ahead and book our Airbnb.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, pretty pumped about that. So now we'll have 2 XRP Ripple conferences to attend this year: XRP Las Vegas and Ripple Swell.
You
Super
saw that
exciting.
he mentioned like the other ones. He ain't say it necessarily, but he gave a shout out to like XRP Las Vegas. Like he was like,
Mhm.
because he been to it 3 times, so like
Yeah.
he showed some love for that. Like I know he ain't mentioned it. I was waiting for him to say like XRP Las Vegas, but he did get pay homage to it. He mentioned it as like retail and just the everyday XRP holder. So I
Mhm.
think that's dope, man. Like I think they do a really good job of keeping the XRP community together, and they try to do what they can to like
Yeah.
give us our pat on the back for what we did for them.
They clearly appreciate us, and, that obviously shows, and it means a
Yeah.
lot, and it just continues to keep us endeared to them, if you will,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, and also, what could possibly be a smarter strategy than when you know and you have the inside information to know that you are building the most valuable company in the world and potentially launching the most valuable asset that mankind will ever know of and ever witness? Why would you not want to hold those people that are going to be the new 1% all together as a community to be able to do things together and collaborate and be able to truly make a dent in the universe, as I've heard said once or twice?
Yep. I agree.
So, yeah, I just think, what an awesome time it is to be alive. You guys, it
Yeah.
was incredible week. All these things we've talked about that happened from Ripple Swell. I mean, it is just huge to see all this news, from their $500 billion investment to the comments that Patrick Witt made about tens of trillions of dollars coming on by year's end. Like we said, that's just the short term. We know that the tokenization of everything in the world is on its way. And when we see people coming together, having these conversations at Ripple Swell, and now knowing that we get to go next year, woo, I'm hyped. But seriously, guys, what a great time to be alive. Let's see what happens this week. Before we come on next week, it's going to be very interesting whether the government truly does open up tomorrow. And I imagine it probably will. I'll be a little skeptical until I see it for 100%. But the government opens up tomorrow. We get the ETFs for XRP rolling out this week. We see the Clarity Act come to a conclusion and get passed in the next week or two. ISO going live on Swift by November 22nd, which is 2 weeks from now. Yeah, 2 weeks from now, seriously. And
That's
big,
crazy.
big things happening.
And
So
these weeks flying by, man. These weeks flying by, man.
for real, it's going to be 2026 before we know it.
Literally. So,
Yeah. So with that said, guys, this has been an incredible show. Always love hanging out with you guys. This literally is like, I don't know if this is the conclusion to my week or this is how my week begins on these Sunday nights, you guys.
Good start.
But it is
Start the week.
it is a highlight of my week. I
Yeah,
love
man.
coming on here, hanging out with you guys and talking about these things that we love, we care about. And as this news comes out and just documenting our adventure in this as all of this unfolds, because none of us three are there at the Ripple Swell event. We don't work for Ripple. We don't work in the government. We don't work at NASDAQ. We're not in those closed door meetings. We don't see this. We just get the news that we are allowed to see, and we're documenting this whole adventure. Yeah, guys, love doing this with you all. Another great week, another great conversation. I'm Will Carr. This is the Diginachi sequence, and what a heck of a week it has been.
Peace, y'all. See you later.
See you guys.
See you guys. Later, brothers.